Hello. A few years ago, I made a video with my friend Sarah in which we were discussing what we thought are the greatest English novels of all time. And one of my absolute tops is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is a story about the ultimate outsider, an individual who did not ask to be created, who is misunderstood and maligned and forced to exist in lonely misery. It feels even more extraordinary that this novel was first published over 200 years ago and that Mary Shelley was only 18 years old when she began writing it, but it still feels so engaging and meaningful and relevant. There are so many moral and social issues which are raised in the plot that can be considered from many different angles. It deals with notions such as ambition, artificial intelligence, community, education, revenge, righteousness, and many more. However, this is also one of literature's most misunderstood characters. In popular culture, Dr. Frankenstein's creation is often reduced to a senseless monster, when the whole point of Mary Shelley's novel is that it is the world that makes him into a monster and denies this individual his humanity. So I was very skeptical about going to see the new film version of this, although I should have had more faith, because when Guillermo del Toro won the BAFTA for Best Director for The Shape of Water, he actually thanked Mary Shelley in his speech. He is obviously a great fan of the novel, and he's been wanting to make a film version of this novel for a very long time. And I think it is probably the best kind of film version of it that there can be, because it maintains the spectacle of this incredible gothic story while also giving us the meaning and poignancy of Mary Shelley's original novel. Visually, the set pieces in this film are extraordinary. The landscapes of a ship locked in ice in the Arctic, and a grand mansion and enormous tower in which Dr. Frankenstein conducts his experiments. Also, the makeup in this film is so vivid, and the costumes are extraordinary as well. Mia Goth, her character in this, she wears such fabulous outfits, but also she's a really complex character, and I like how this kind of tempered the much more masculine side of this story. Some viewers have remarked that the film is overlong and that it gets a bit repetitive, switching between perspectives, and I'm sure many viewers will find some scenes to be incredibly gruesome and hard to take. I certainly had to turn my head away during certain scenes when Dr. Frankenstein is making his creation. But I'm glad that the film took its time to explore what it meant for Dr. Frankenstein's creation to feel so furious in an unjust world and to be left totally isolated. Some aspects of the story have been changed, partly to update it, but also to render this story in visual form. I think that's kind of a necessity, but it also maintains Mary Shelley's structure of these shifting perspectives, which I think are vital to the essence of the story, and leaving the viewer to decide who they are sympathetic with, who they believe, and to show the way that those who are in power and those who have resources can dominate and steer the narrative and understanding of events and other people, especially when those other people are different from the majority, how those others can be stigmatized and vilified. And this is such an important part of the meaning and essence of Mary Shelley's novel, of looking at large-scale civilization in the way that certain people have been dominated and controlled and destroyed. There's sections in the novel which make reference to the Americas and the decimation of the Native American people. But it also shows how the historical understanding of these large-scale changes in the world between different cultures and people, it is subjective because there are also aspects in this novel in which certain characters perpetuate stereotypes about people from Asia. And the film doesn't get too far into these specifics, but in its overall structure shows how that even in the drive for progress, the drive for expansion and the enhancement of certain nations and civilizations, that the landscape and more vulnerable individuals can be steamrolled over in the process. But this isn't a necessity of the forward thrust of our civilization, that there still can be reconciliation, even when there has been so much horror and misery due to intentional violence and the intention to control other people. So I'm sure some viewers will scoff at how this film has been structured and its conclusion, but personally, I found it to be very poignant and just a wonderful viewing experience. And it also drove me to want to go back and reread Mary Shelley's extraordinary and rich novel. There is so much to be got out of this story, even now, over 200 years after it was first published. I think it shows, and this new film shows, that it still has an incredible amount of relevancy to our world today. So I would love to hear if you have read this great classic, what you think of it, or if you've reread it yourself, or if you've seen this new film version. I would love to hear what you think about it in the comments below. But I hope you're doing well and reading good things and watching good things, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.